What is up, side hustlers, entrepreneurs, business builders, and dream makers? Welcome to the Saturday Side Hustle Podcast, episode 40. So great to be in your earbuds again, as we are every single day of the week. Happy Friday, guys. Glad to be with you. Today, I have an update for you about next week, and I have some exciting revelations I've had over this week that I want to share with you. This is an interesting Friday because it is a solo episode. Recently we've been doing guests on Fridays, and I did have a guest lined up for this Friday. Unfortunately, we had to push back the recording, so I didn't have time to navigate another guest. And I actually appreciate that because it allows me to just be transparent with you guys in the reality of how this podcast is made. Truth is, I am not committed to having a guest every single Friday, no matter what. I am committed to having guests on Fridays. And so if we don't have a guest, I'll have a solo episode. If we do have a guest, I will have that guest on. That's pretty much what it looks like as far as I'm concerned. And now you know that. You experienced it. But next week's going to be an interesting week because next week I am flying back home, back to where my parents live, to where I used to teach, to my old life. And I'm spending a week in my old life, meeting up with past students, meeting up with past colleagues, and intentionally kind of stepping away from business a little bit so that I can evaluate things more honestly and have a break. And I'm also excited because it's actually timed around the school where I taught at their graduation. So I'm going to be going to their graduation, and it's just right before my birthday as well. So it'll be good to see my parents and my old friends and all of that. As kind of a birthday gift to me, if you will. So that being said, my intention right now is that over that week, I will still be recording this podcast. It'll probably be lower quality because one, it'll be recorded on my laptop. Two, I won't have my mic that I guess you can't see in this frame right now, but I won't have my professional mic. The background will be different. And so we're just going to do the best we can next week. That's just something I wanted to share with you guys. Like, hey, I'm going to be traveling and I'm committed to this podcast. So if all goes according to plan, I still will maintain a daily episode. That is the goal. But I'm also going to be in a new transitional phase for a week. And during that phase, it's actually the case, and this is a good thing for you guys to know as well, that while I'm flying to Washington, I'm actually driving with my brother-in-law back here, and he's staying with us for the summer. So on the drive here, that'll start on a Sunday and it'll go into a Monday and maybe a Tuesday. Those Mondays and Tuesdays that'll be coming up, I might not be able to. It might be outside of my capabilities to record a podcast. I'm gonna do my best. I'm just letting you guys know what to expect, what coming forward in the next week or so. So with that being said, let's go ahead. That was my update. I want to share with you guys a new metric that I learned about this week that I have never heard about. I've been in marketing and entrepreneurship since I turned 18. And so I figured I knew all the KPIs, but I learned a new one and it was mind blowing. And the crazy thing is I didn't hear about it once, I heard about it twice. I heard about it from a good friend of mine named AJ Rivera, and then I heard about it from a good friend of mine named Nathan Hirsch. Nathan Hirsch is going to be on our Friday episode next week. So that's something that you can look forward to. And I was blown away, honestly, that I had never learned of this. But the metric is specifically for companies that have retainers. They have clients on retainers. They have clients paying them on a monthly basis. It's a metric called concentration risk. And my understanding is that concentration risk, it's a percentage, and it is equivalent to the percentage of revenue that you're getting from your largest client. So, for example, let's say you're making $5,000 a month and your largest client is paying you $1,000 a month. 1,000 divided by 5,000 times 100 to turn into a percent tells us that that client is responsible for 20% of your revenue. That means that your concentration risk is 20%. And one of the reason that this metric exists is so that we can actually quantify and clarify the stability of a company. It might be a really big deal if you lose 20% of your revenue because one client cancels. On the flip side, it's not that big of a deal if you lose 1% of your revenue because one client cancels, right? So the lower your concentration rate, the more stable your company is. Now, the crazy thing about this is I learned from two different sources that if you want a stable company that is built on retainers, recurring revenue, then your concentration risk rate should be 5% or lower. 5% or lower. And one of the things that automatically means is true is that you necessarily need to have at least 20 clients. If you don't have at least 20 clients, because 1 out of 20 is 5, 1 out of 20 is 5%. If you don't have at least 20 clients, it's impossible to get your concentration risk rate below 5%. So you need at least 20 clients. And if you have 20 clients, then it can hit 5%. And that's a fascinating thing to think about because it kind of shifts mindset a little bit. And you go, should I be focusing on revenue or should I be focusing on acquiring 20 clients who love me? And so this was just a new metric that I learned about this week. It's I've been sharing it with everybody who will listen because it's really been a game changer for me conceptually. I'm thinking through it. I don't know exactly if it's going to make any impact on my business in any practical way, but it might. I'll let you guys know about that in the next week or so to come. But just a cool thing that I learned about that I want to share with you. And that's going to go ahead and wrap us up for this week. Love you guys so much. I hope you enjoy your weekend. I'll be back in your earbuds on Monday.